welcome to today's edition of Elite Talk Show. I am your host, Sarah, out of Syracuse, New York.
I am your excuse me to trivia champion, DMC Grizzle.
And apparently, due to my skylights, I got quite a bit of sun here in my living room.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It just looks like you're like coming live from an atrium or something.
Yeah. So last night was Dynamite's Blood and Guts special.
Blood and Guts.
Super hyped up event. What are your immediate thoughts following?
I mean, obviously everyone just wants to go straight to the ending and talk about it. I didn't think it was all that bad, except you watched it and you're like, maybe something's a little bit off about that. But the people that are coming for AEW's throats on this, I don't get it. It was a really great match. We got all kinds of great spots. You got plenty of blood for those of you that needed to see a lot of blood. I mean, you knew it was going to happen.
From about 2 minutes in.
Right. No guts, thankfully. Sorry to those of you that were upset about that. And I don't know. I mean, what do you want? What do you want from AEW?
The fact they kept stressing the only way to win is by, was it submission or surrender? Pinfall or surrender? Like, yeah, there's going to be some sort of weird ending. Someone's going to surrender or give up or something. And sure enough, that surrender was the ending, which I'm okay with. It's different.
Yeah, I don't mind it at all, especially since it was Sammy, because, Sammy's been so in and out of the group, and, he had to leave and come back, and then he was the one to say, no, mercy. I think that was cool. Maybe you have a different camera angle or something like that, but I think the issue that AEW is having is that its fans are all really hardcore fans. Like, I don't think there's any casual AEW fan. Like, everyone that watches is pretty into it. So when you hype something up like this and it doesn't deliver the way you want to, I guess you're like twice as, disappointed somehow. Similar to the exploding ring, death match, something that was hyped up so much, and then you got kind of a strange ending with that. I don't think it was nearly quite as bad as that. And I thought that they could have also taken that situation and turned it into something fun. They just weren't thinking on their head foot on that one. So I don't know. It was a great show. I can't really fault anyone for this one.
I'm sure they're going to have, if Tony Kahn is really upset about how that one ended, or thinks a lot of people are, they'll come up with some sort of storyline or promo to explain that goofy ending.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight's always 20/20. I would have liked to see the entire inner circle actually catch him somehow, if there was a way to do that, or for him to I mean, I don't know how safe that is, but I mean, there were things you could do better, but that's just being nitpicky. These guys went out and put out an awesome show, and you definitely thought that they totally hated each other. So I'm cool with it.
Mm-hmm. Plus, it's not fair. The opening hour wasn't so bad either. You had Britt Baker. The fact they didn't announce her opponent, you knew it was going to be an enhancement talent. You had the 4-way tag team for number contender. I was under the impression it was an elimination match.
I thought so too. Well, I guess we were wrong. I mean, I at least had guessed that the Varsity Blondes would go out first, but and I guess technically they did, along with everyone else. So
yeah, but that was a good match. SCU winning is kind of a big deal, and see if they win the titles or if they break up next week.
QT and Cody, I think a lot of people were upset that Cody went over in this match, but I think the point of him beating QT is that he'll lose to Anthony Ogogo eventually, and then that's what and then that puts him over as teachers, or as student surpassing the teacher, and then that's going to do a lot to make him big. So I guess it doesn't bother me that much, but it's always nice to have a night to sleep on it. Because if you'd asked me last night, I would have been like, man, what's up with that ending? But now I've had time to think about it.
Plus, I also didn't know Anthony Ogogo was British.
Yep, definitely. I think he was in what's their big one over there? Progress. Yeah. Wrestling at one point. I could be wrong on that. Let me know in the comments below if I'm an idiot. I'm sure you will.
Plus the opening match, we had Nakazawa and Kenny Omega defeating Moxley. Or no, wait. No, they lost to Moxley and Kingston.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of knew Naka was there to take the pin on this one.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good post-match, beatdown situation. Maybe sets up the Bucks versus Moxley and Kingston at Double or Nothing or something like that.
And Young Bucks bringing the fashion for sure.
Always bringing the fashion. I love it. Like I'm all about it. The shoe game is so on point, and I love the sparkly things that Matt Jackson's been wearing on his head. I'm all about some heel Bucks.
So it was circulating online today. A lot of fans were unhappy that were in attendance. Apparently, it had gone around. I missed this myself. Apparently, it had gone around when you bought tickets that it was only going to be a one-match show. Tony explained they hadn't gotten the kind of figured out, as far as having the double ring, raise and lower, being an amphitheater. I guess, it is what it is. The first hour was pretty much pre-taped a few weeks ago, so why not that refunds were issued to fans? Dave Meltzer let out exactly how many of the 1,500 fans got refunds. 5.
Yeah, and you're all crybabies, and you don't deserve the show that you just had put on, even if it was just one match. I mean, that's you got to witness wrestling history, and you cried about it. And AEW is so cool that they said, "Okay, cool, here's your money back. It's fine." Yeah. Anyway, they wanted a refund of this. You knew what you were going for. If you didn't, I guess that's on you. I don't know if there were any tapings for Dark or Dark Elevation after that. So, I mean, if you also got that too, I really don't know what you're complaining about. I think you're a huge crybaby if you ask for a refund for this.
On the AEW post show, Tony Schiavone was asked about Daniel Bryan and Samoa Joe possibly signing with them. His response was, "You know what? If we could, maybe we would, but we don't book them, do we?" So it kind of sounds like to me like, yeah, we would sign if we could, but is there really much hope?
I think you're more likely to get Samoa Joe since he's got so much TNA history, and AEW seems to have a great appreciation for that. I don't see him personally going back to Ring of Honor. I don't think he has a reason to do that, but maybe he does for a short spell, and maybe they don't have to sign anywhere. Like, obviously, AEW is cool with people coming in and out. I'd love to see some Daniel Bryan matches. I don't think I necessarily need to see him sign, and I don't think he wants to. I think he wants to spend more time with his kids. So I honestly kind of hope he doesn't sign, but that we still see him every once in a while. And knowing AEW, they'll pick the perfect spot to do that.
Kenny Omega versus Daniel Bryan match.
I mean, a bunch of them. I'd like to see Daniel Bryan versus Darby. I think that would be awesome. I mean, the list goes on. You could pretty much put anybody in there, and it would be exciting. I want to see Christian versus Daniel Bryan, actually.
Oof, that would be great. I guess there was one report that says they don't expect that from AEW executives backstage. Their feeling is that Daniel Bryan's not leaving WWE and will probably re-sign with them.
Yeah, I think the news is all over the place on this one. Some people say he's not coming back, and some people say he's definitely coming back, and who knows? I imagine he'll probably have like a part-time situation with the WWE, but who knows? Maybe they'll actually start being cool one day. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. It was also reported within the past couple of days, AEW plans to run full capacity at Double or Nothing, 5,500 fans, all in attendance.
I mean, we've already seen a large crowd at WrestleMania. Even though the capacity is larger, you still got a lot of people clustered together. You just hope that people are either vaccinated or going to be safe. But with the lifted mask mandate, and basically, the governor saying that in terms of Florida, the gloves are off. I mean, we're all going to have to get back to life at some point. I just don't know if it's right now.
I mean, the UFC was running full capacity at their last event, I believe, and haven't really heard anything bad about it, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we're past this thing. Like a lot of places seem to be acting like we are, and at this point, I don't know. It's such a tough subject, but I just hope that everyone's safe and nobody gets sick.
Yeah, we will keep tabs on that as it happens, I guess. Tony also did say they were going to run a full weekend of events. Friday night they were going to run a house show, and Saturday would be a fan fest.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a good way to get everyone comfortable again. I mean, I'm sure the talent's ready to have a bunch of people around and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I just hope that nobody is put in an uncomfortable situation if they don't want to be, and I'm sure that anyone is allowed to not come without being punished or anything like that. It's just you would like to think that everyone gets the same leeway that they would have at this time a year ago if they're not comfortable being in this situation. But I think everyone is. I think everyone's ready to go and ready to get back at it.
We will see what happens. Breaking news, just developing as we're recording here. The rating for AEW is in, drawing a 1.09.
Ooh, right. Love to see him get over that million mark. And,
Mm-hmm.
they're creeping towards Raw numbers. I don't think that they'll get there quite yet. It might take another year or so. Or maybe the Raw numbers will fall even more.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I don't see why. It's such a good show.
Yeah. Tony Kahn threw a little shade at WWE when he was on Busted Open Radio, I believe is when this came out. Comparing the booking, he says, we don't do repeat matches 17 weeks in a row. Do you like seeing Tony Khan throw some jabs at WWE?
Yeah, why not? I mean, may as well get in the mix. They've certainly thrown their fair share of jabs. I think he should be careful about when he chooses to do it. But, I mean, this is a major complaint from everybody. And it also means that he pays attention to the WWE product. It does, that's exactly what's going on. We've seen Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin lose now 3 weeks in a row, although I think they finally broke them up this week. But, I mean, you kept seeing the same matches over and over and over again. We've seen Lana versus Nia Jax 5 million times now. And that, and between her and Shayna Baszler, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't mind him doing this at all. And he's got it just shows that he does have his finger on the pulse of the internet wrestling community and what everyone's thinking right now, because I don't know who's really enjoying Raw right now. SmackDown's been pretty good. NXT's always good, but Raw's been really terrible for quite some time now. No matter how they shuffle it up, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the
or maybe even on
hour.
SmackDown. On SmackDown, how many weeks in a row we got some combination of the Mysterios versus Gable and Otis?
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is how feuds used to work, but it works because there's no stables for WWE. So if you had a bunch of 5-person stables, you could have people feuding with with each other, similar to the way that we saw last night with the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle. Obviously, the beef is between MJF and Jericho, but that trickles down into everyone else. You can have continuous matches and continuous combinations of those people until you're blue in the face, and then you can still have your big, huge MJF versus Jericho match, which is clearly not over yet because he just got thrown off a cage. So
yes.
Hopefully Jericho sells that for a little bit. I don't know if we get it at Double or Nothing or if it shows up at All Out, but we shall see.
He is getting ready to go on tour. I haven't really looked at the exact dates, so I don't know if maybe his dates just fall on the off days of AEW, or if he's just stepping time away, sell the injury.
I mean, he deserves some time off anyway. He's been working this entire time and flying back and forth to I mean, does he still live in Canada? Like, how has he been able to get around that?
No, he lives down in, I want to say Tampa, but he has a house somewhere down in Florida.
Oh, okay, cool. I was confused.
And I'm pretty sure it's Tampa.
Well, he deserves some time off. I mean, Obviously,
Yes.
he's worked really hard. Anyone that's worked that hard would deserve some time off. And he's 50 freaking years old, and you just threw the man off the cage. Like, give him a week off.
Hmm. Yeah.
Give him a couple months off. Let him go on tour. Let him have a good fun summer. Maybe he comes back in. I know everyone likes to harp on his weight and everything, because he is getting older. But I mean, he's just a guy that's getting older. So maybe I think he looks fine. Maybe he comes back looking in slightly better shape and whoops MJF's ass. I mean, that would be awesome.
Yes, definitely will. And speaking of Jericho, he did comment on what his exact position was in AEW. He was on some radio show, I believe it was. I could be mistaken. I didn't write the source down. But here's what he said. He said, I think I literally have a position as senior advisor to the CEO. Jericho revealed when they were talking about EVPs and all that sort of thing. I was like, I don't want to have anything to do with that because these guys are doing a lot of work at the beginning, finding sponsors, going to Cracker Barrel, helping book towns and doing all that stuff. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to have anything to do with that. But when you're talking about creative side of things, I mean, obviously, I worry about Chris Jericho's storyline is first and foremost. So he's pretty much there to help on the creative side of things. Didn't really want to do much of the manual labor, I guess you could say, which really, at that age, how can you blame him?
He doesn't need to. I think it's kind of built in because of the way that they already work so well with the independents, with Joey Janela. That's obviously a door straight to GCW. And from GCW, you've also got Jersey Championship Wrestling that just came back recently, and everyone that's associated kind of with the Jersey area. So they're never going to have any shortage of people to bring in from the indies, and kind of in a way it's like they don't have to have a developmental, even though they already do with Dark and everything. So I don't think that he has to do that. I think that kind of already is a well-oiled machine that works for itself, and everybody that's in there has already got 5 guys, 5 girls that they want to bring in. So yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, I would like for Jericho to be Jericho and worry about his advice when it comes to being creative, and then just let him do his thing because that's what is the best for your company. Him going on tour, him just coming on screen, being himself. Everyone's singing Judas. Like, you just need to keep that up, and then maybe over time have slightly less of that so you can get more guys and more girls, especially more women, please, on television. I'd really actually like to see him take kind of the reins on helping the women's division a little bit more, and maybe he could step up on that front just a little bit.
Yeah, and plus he brings that television side, for TV knowledge and how to work TV and that aspects. I think he was really one of the few when I first started that had live Iron TV experience.
Yeah, I mean he's wonderful. He's a gem. He'll be there hopefully for the rest of his career. If he wants to leave, let him leave it and then come back. I mean, I think we're so used to somebody leaving, the WWE, and then they can't come in and out, and it's usually like a screw them, or I hate it there. Like, it's such a polarized thing. Whereas with AEW, I'm pretty sure that they would let Jericho go back to the WWE for 3 years and welcome him back with wide open arms.
Bring him in for
cool.
Bring him in for a quick title shot, and then drop him back down to the mid card.
Yeah, why not?
Renee Paquette was on the Wrestling Inc. podcast this morning or yesterday morning. They asked her which violent Jon Moxley moment made her most uncomfortable. Any guesses?
I'm gonna guess at Full Gear when they went into the bed of barbed wire off the stage.
No, same opponent though. It was the Omega match in the exploding barbed wire death match.
Oh, really?
Happened. Yep. So that was most uncomfortable she's been.
The most horrific thing that they did was putting Kenny Omega through that table at the very beginning of the feud. That shit was horrible.
She did mention when they put glass in his mouth, that really made her uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's gimmick glass, but
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. I mean, I can only imagine like watching my spouse, do anything like that, and then also being pregnant at the same time. I mean, with
The
all the
extra
heightened,
hormones. Oh yeah.
yeah, all the heightened hormones and everything like that. So Renee Paquette, you're a true soldier, and
Mhm.
you're a badass wife, and a really good podcast host. And I'd love to be on your show one day when I get famous.
Yes. We'll definitely trade podcast spots, hopefully someday.
Yeah, hopefully.
So we'll talk Sammy Guevara a little bit here too. He was asked about, critics that have labeled him, as a dangerous worker. His reply, it is what it is, man. People can have their opinions. That's their right. I know who I am. It's wrestling. This isn't the easiest of things to do. And I know everybody wants to be safe and stuff, but this stuff is dangerous to do. As much as everyone wants to be like, hey, he's dangerous, there's a reason I'm in the ring. These people are not. What we do is very dangerous, and there's a reason I'm doing this dangerous thing, and they're watching this dangerous thing. He basically also acknowledged that he even pretty much said himself that it seemed like him and Matt Hardy, their feud was a little cursed.
Yeah. I mean, if you put someone in a bunch of dangerous matches and you've never seen them before, you're going to assume that they're a dangerous worker. I mean, they were in the match that led to the Stadium Stampede, all the Matt Hardy stuff, blood and guts. I mean, you've put him in quite a few super dangerous situations. And I believe that he is the youngest wrestler in that group. So, I mean, there's going to be a learning curve. I don't think that is coming from the wrestlers, though. I think it's coming from fans. So the fuck do you know? I mean, really, I realize that there's lots of people that have been watching for a long time, and they say he's going to hurt somebody one day. And yeah, the stuff with Matt Hardy was horrendous, and we all cringed and went, "Oh my god!" Like he's actually knocked out. Like I called it immediately. I was like, Matt Hardy is knocked the fuck out. So if the wrestlers don't have a problem with it, I would just wait for them to say something. I appreciate you being protective of your favorite wrestlers and not wanting them to get hurt. That's the positive way to think about all this. But I mean, for us to sit around and say that Sammy is a super dangerous worker, there's only so much that we see, and we only see what the camera shows us. So for all the times that we think that he's hurt somebody, he may have done the right things 5 million more other times and prevented somebody else from being hurt by doing things correctly. And he had a match with Darby, and Darby's fine, and Darby has a death wish. So like, what do you want?
Speaking of, I know we saw that picture of the after effects of Sammy from Blood and Guts match, and oof, boy, is that boy bruised up.
It's brutal. Yeah, for anyone that wants to say that he hasn't taken his bumps, he surely got it on this one. Looked like about 7 or 8 stitches and a pretty gnarly gash on his right shoulder blade. So I hope you get better soon, Sammy.
And he also took a headshot with the chair from Shawn Spears last night too.
That was brutal, man.
Cringed a little bit. Like, ooh.
That was brutal. But we're not sitting here saying that, Shawn Spears is an unsafe worker. I mean, that chair was clearly gimmicked. Mm-hmm. It was rough, though. It looked horrible. We don't need to do this all the time. Sick chair shots are just bad news. We know they are. And I don't mind you doing it every once in a while. And honestly, Shawn Spears has given 2 pretty gnarly chair shots now in his career if you go back to the Cody bump. So but we're not sitting here saying that Shawn Spears is an unsafe worker because both of those chairs were gimmicked. Maybe he's just cursed with chairs. Who knows? He is the chairman after all.
Yes. Gotta live up to whatever gimmick you're given.
Yeah. I don't mind it. And obviously nobody did anything that they weren't comfortable with.
Yeah.
So unless we hear about it later.
So this week's injury report, one AEW star has come out and said that they need surgery, and that is Kip Sabian. He's going to be out of action for a little while. So that's why they had the injury last week when Miro attacked him. So he's actually going to be out for surgery.
Well, there's another guy that deserves some time off. He worked all through the pandemic and had matches quite often, at least early on. It's unfortunate, you have a young guy that you're trying to build up, Maybe he comes back with some new entrance music. I've been calling for that for a long time.
I like his entrance music.
I don't like it. I just think it's super generic, and I think that they can do better by him.
To me, it reminds me of here's an obscure reference. It reminds me of a Weird Al song called CNR.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go back and listen to that, and maybe
listen to Kip's song and then listen to CNR by Weird Al.
Okay, deal.
Very similar.
I'll do it. That's fine. Right. Cool with that. But we hope you get better soon, Kip.
Yes.
And we wish you all success. Yeah, totally. Take your time.
In our last little bit of news, MJF revealed what he wanted to do before his contract ends in 2024. He wants to win the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, and I think he'll do it.
He's got plenty of time. In the next 3 years. I mean, if you don't pull the trigger within that 3 years, I think there might actually be something wrong there. We obviously have to get through the Kenny program, and I think we all want Hangman to take the belt from Kenny eventually, but maybe that just doesn't happen yet. Maybe MJF takes it and, some kind of, I don't know how you have super heel versus super heel, but I think we're all just, right. I think we all just assume, I don't know, man, something screwy is going to happen when everyone starts going over to Japan, and once he starts taking all the belts over there. I think it was Bully Ray last night that was saying that Impact should be very upset that Michael Nakazawa was carrying the Impact and the TNA Championship, which right. I thought was pretty funny. I think it's an obvious move to have him as champion, but you want him to be champ for a long time. And you also want Hangman to have a nice reign. So maybe it doesn't happen for another 2 years. I don't know how you fit him in yet because they protect the shit out of him. Mm-hmm. So, I think that MJF and Hangman are probably the two most protected people in terms of their young talent in the whole company, with the exception of Darby. So I don't know how you do it, but I think it obviously has to happen.
Yeah, and one thing that kind of makes me nervous, and I'm sure makes a few other people nervous, is that MJF's already said when he hits free agency, he's going to listen to offers from all companies.
Of course he is, because that would be the ultimate ultimate douchebag thing he could do would be to go to WWE for 3 years and then come back. I don't know if he's going to go that super kayfabe or not. Obviously they already kind of had him for a little bit and didn't know what to do with him.
Samoa Joe did.
Yeah, Samoa Joe did. Shove him out of the way. So yeah, I don't know. If I was MJF, I would stay in AEW for the rest of my life. But It is what it is. Maybe within 5 years, the WWE actually changes into a place that people want to be and aren't just going there for the money.
Right. All right. Well, that'll do it for us here today on Elite Talk Show. Don't forget to check out our brand new merch store, shop@bucklebomb.com. You can find us on Twitter at BuckleBombENT. Don't forget to subscribe and like us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also on Saturday, coming up here, so when this comes out, it'll be tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern. We're going to host our live show, first one in a while for fan interaction. We're going to do a bracket style show, kind of like a best of show. We're going to be ranking the best toys ever.
Yeah, we're kind of piggybacking off the New Day on this one, which I like. I like this idea a whole lot.
And if you go back and you watch, listeners, they did there's ended up being a 4-part podcast. The person that picked the bracket had a few terrible choices as far as what they put in and what they put out. Even New Day was ripping on them for it. So we're going to make sure we get our bracket. It might not be perfect, but it'll be better.
Yeah, it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. And I don't understand how chess will not beat everything because I'm such a chess nerd. So I look forward to that discussion with you and arguing and being upset.
Yes. Alrighty. Well, if they want to find you, Danny, where can they find you?
DMC Grezel. Do it on Instagram, Twitter. You can follow me on Facebook if you want to, but more active on the Instagrams these days. And stay tuned for the Excuse Me 3 championship, where I will be defending my belt invisible strap that you see right here across my forehead.
Yes. So I'm going to try to get to at least 3 live shows on the weekends. All live shows will be on weekends, various days, times, but you'll be warned ahead of time. Have a good night, everyone.